nVidia just announced their introduction of the GeForce RTX 4060 family, and the first model is gonna be available on the 24th of May at $299. This is a really good surprise from nVidia. The 3060 came at 329, I believe, and this is a step in the good direction, but there are some mixed feelings about this launch. So, as you can see, three new cards are gonna be released. The first one is gonna be the 4060 Ti 8 GB model on the 24th of May. There's gonna be another 16 GB model coming in July, and the 4060 non-Ti and is gonna be 8 GB, even though it's not mentioned here, coming in July. And from what I've seen in Daniel Owen's video, these two are gonna be released on different dates, or they're not gonna be released on the same day, but they are both coming in July. So let's scroll down, let's see the info. You get, obviously with the 4000 series, you get all the new features that nVidia offers, like DLSS frame generation and so on, AV1 encoding for streaming and so on. So yeah, we already know that the 4000 series are pretty efficient. That's a really nice thing to have, even though I would say most gamers don't really care about power consumption as long as they don't have to upgrade the power supply. But these cards are okay. Like if you have a 500-watt power supply, you're gonna do fine. And yeah, the Ida Lovelace architecture is very efficient. I think this is a graph of performance per watts, something like that. But we're gonna see down below in some graphs that they are pretty efficient. So the first presented card is the GeForce RTX 4060 Ti 8 GB model, starting at $399, and it's being compared with the 3060 Ti and the 2060 Super. Now I would ignore the green bar, because this is with frame generation, and it's a good technology, but with some caveats, you know, as anything from nVidia these days. More raw-ish performance is the gray bars. So we do seem to have 15% more performance for the 4060 Ti at the same price, and 60% more performance than the 2060 Super, so that's all right. Now there's a graph over here. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit more without breaking the page. We have a few games tested here, and most of them are with frame generation, but some of them are without frame generation. There's a footnote right here, but the writing is really small. But basically it's the configuration. So all of them are at 1080p max settings with DLSS and RT on in games that support it, except A Plague Tale Requiem, which is set on high preset, and Resident Evil Remake with ray tracing preset. Probably because 8 GB is not enough. And that's the problem with this card. I think the price is okay. You get more performance for the same price. You don't get amazingly more performance, but you have a newer card, newer architecture, but it's 8 GB. That's the problem with this card. Otherwise, you know, you get all the new features, and the performance is quite okay. Price is all right, but why doesn't it have 12 gigabytes? You know, like at the very least 12. Why? Because as you can see, you have a very potent GPU, like, but it's just bottlenecked by its uh, memory buffer, right? By the VRAM buffer. It's only 8 gigabytes. And probably that's why they're releasing another 16 gigabytes model, because this one will probably have the same relative performance, except in games that need more VRAM is gonna be better than the 8 gigabytes model, meaning you can run at max settings without your memory spilling over the 8 gigabytes or the 16 gigabytes. But the problem is it doesn't come at 399. It's gonna be available at 499. So that's a bit expensive. But let's find, yeah, this is the graph, and you can apparently zoom in the graph. Okay. So the 4060 Ti, you're gonna have 22 teraflops of shaders, 51 teraflops of RT cores, 353 teraflops of tensor cores. You have gain access to DLSS 3. You get AV1 encoding, and you get the two versions of 8 gigabytes and 16 gigabytes, and you get a lot more L2 cache, which they go on and explain that it's gonna be, even though it's 288, English is very hard, gigabytes per second bandwidth, the effective bandwidth is basically double that, because of the L2, of the a lot higher L2 cache. And here you can see that these cards are really efficient, and props for that. I think that's really great, even though most gamers don't really care. You know, if you have a 500 watts power supply, it's gonna be fine for a GPU with 200 watts or with 160 watts, and you're gonna care a lot more about the performance. But yeah, the 4060 Ti is better than the 3060 at the same price. I'm talking about the 8 gigabytes model. But 8 gigabytes is not enough if we want to play. It's crazy. Even at 1080p with ray tracing is not enough. And these cards, they are powerful enough to do ray tracing. But for the 8 gigabytes model, it feels so bad, because you need 16 gigabytes. But if you want the 16 gigabytes, you're gonna have to pay a $100 premium. Good job, nVidia. Good job. All right. They have slides, various slides with FPS and better power consumption. So, you know, if electricity is really expensive, then yes, I think they are really good. However, if you already have the 3060 Ti, I think you are insane if you're gonna upgrade to a 4060 Ti. Yes, if you have the 2060 Super, that's alright, you can upgrade. Even though you don't get much more VRAM. But you're gonna get a lot more performance, right? So from the 2060 Super to the 4060 Ti, I think that's an okay upgrade. That's actually a good upgrade. But I think you're gonna be insane to upgrade from the 3060 Ti to the 4060 Ti. Just no, skip this generation and thank me later. Basically. And now they go with the 4060, which comes a lot cheaper than the previous generation cards, the 60 cards. That's really good. So you have a performance uplift at a lower price. That's actually, I cannot believe what I'm seeing right here. I would still not probably not upgrade from the 3060. It makes little to no sense, but from the 2060 maybe it's worth the upgrade. Sell the 2060 with maybe $150, save another $150 and buy the 4060. That makes a lot of sense to me. So this is probably the best card they're gonna release in my so far, at least. I think it's the 4070 is the best value card so far, and then once this 4060 is gonna be released, the 4060 is gonna be the best value card, and that's quite nice to see a real value card at the low end. I'm curious if they're gonna release a 4050, well, and price it at, let's say, go very aggressive, like $189. Something like that I think would be also really good. And if it comes with 8 gigabytes, that would be a really great value entry level card. So that's the 4060 family. Do we have a little more info over here? No. So I was excited about the 4060 Ti with 16 gigabytes, but not at 500. That feels kind of bad. However, if you want a game with max settings and ray tracing, it might be worth it. But if you're not, if you don't care about ray tracing, just dismiss nVidia altogether and go AMD, because for $500 right now, I think you can get a 6800 XT, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and you have 16 gigabytes of VRAM at $510. Let's actually check to see if it's actually in stock, and it is on Amazon. Oh no, it's out of stock, but it's in stock on Newegg. So if you don't really care about ray tracing, I think the 6800 XT is a much better choice. And the performance without ray tracing is going to be a lot better with the 6800 XT, and we can check that. How do we check that? Well, we're gonna look at the relative performance, right? The 4060 Ti should be 15% faster than the 3060 Ti, right? So we're gonna use Tech Power Up with relative performance. We have the 3060 Ti right here, and the 15% more performance should be in the ballpark of an RTX 3070, right? So let's see where the 6800 XT stacks up in this. Well, it's gonna be about 25%, and I'm talking about rasterized performance, right? The 6800 XT is gonna be about 25% faster than the 4060 Ti at basically the same price, 510, 515, right? You can buy it right now. You don't have to wait until July. Yes, you can buy it right now, and you're gonna have 25% more performance. You're gonna have 16 gigabytes of VRAM, but the card is not gonna be as good in ray tracing, most likely, or it's probably gonna trade blows depending on how heavy the ray tracing is, because the 6800 XT has a higher base of rasterized performance, right? So activating ray tracing is gonna reduce the performance to make it probably competitive with the 4060 Ti. But it's gonna draw more power, so that's the disadvantage, right? It has thermal design power. I think this is a TDP of 300 watts, whereas the 4060 is a lot more efficient, right? The 4060 Ti is gonna have an average gaming power of 140, and the TGP is 160, so it's probably consuming half the power. So that's the disadvantage of AMD. They're not as efficient, but this is a last gen card. So if you really want to upgrade right now, you can get the 6800 XT just now and game, and it's gonna be a lot better than the 4060 Ti in rasterized performance. I'm probably gonna trade blows in ray tracing. So there are, you know, mixed feelings about this this launch by nVidia. I mean, imagine if the 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes would be priced at, let's say, $430. I think it would be an amazing GPU. A good value. I think it is an amazing GPU. It's a really strong GPU. It's very efficient, but the price, you know, in the end, the price to performance is all that matters. And 500 is just too damn high, in my opinion. That's the only problem I have. And also with the 4060, it's also at 8 gigabytes. Yeah, okay, it's a slide. It's an 8 gigabyte card, and the 3060 had 12. It's a lot more efficient. You get less VRAM. Yeah, it's mixed, but I think it's still a good card. If you wanna play, if you can play basically max settings without ray tracing pretty easily, and it's gonna be a very efficient GPU. But again, I would not upgrade from a 3060. I would upgrade from a 2060. Remember, I upgraded from a 1080 Ti to a 7900 XT. I'm probably not gonna buy another GPU for the next 4 or 5 years. You know, I'm gonna skip a generation for sure. Because it's gonna make no sense to upgrade. At 1440, I'm probably never gonna play 4K. Not really never, but not too soon. 1440p is enough, you know. I think is enough for me. And it's easier to get higher settings and maybe delve into ray tracing, also stream and so on. For me, it's enough. So I would upgrade from a 2060. I will skip this generation if I had a 3060, and maybe in a couple of years you're gonna upgrade to a 5060 if there's gonna be a thing, you know. That's where I would look to upgrade, because probably they're gonna finally go with more VRAM. Or actually, I'm gonna make a bold prediction right now. The 5060 is gonna have 12 gigabytes. And it's not gonna be enough. It's gonna come with 12 gigabytes, and we're gonna be rambling about the fact that it doesn't have 16 gigabytes. I'm sure of it. But we'll see what the future is gonna bring. So this is the launch. I have mixed feelings. It's sad. The 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes is at $500. Don't buy in the launch date. Just wait for the guys to review them on YouTube. Be patient. That's another good advice. Just be patient. Wait for the reviews before you buy, because yeah, maybe they are claiming 15%, but maybe the reviews are gonna come and it's gonna be like 7% more performance, or maybe 30% more performance. Just wait for the reviews is what I'm saying. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you got some good info. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.